Alright, hello everyone, this is Tetsuo from Podcast of the Five Rings. We are starting a new kind of side show, if you will. We haven't come up with a name for it yet. I'm guessing Obsidian probably will at a later point. But figured I would start to show some of my hobby stuff that I do. There seems to have been some interest in some comments and everything. I know I do Gunpla. We actually had initially planned for me to do a Gundam build for this first one, but I actually discovered a new game, which I'm going to be talking about on Thursday, called Gaslands, so make sure you check that out. But this will be, I thought it'd be fun to show how to build the models for these. So, long and short of the game, or I guess just the short of the game, not the long, it is essentially the TLDR X-Wing, but Mad Max aesthetics. You have little templates that you'll put down, you'll try to, you're trying to race, you can take each other out, there's a few different, like, game modes to play, so to say. But what's really cool about it is, they don't have models. They don't sell any models. Which, I know, how's that cool? They're buying a game and there's no models for it? Well, we all know these. Little Hot Wheels. Or Matchbox cars, or whatever, just this basic size. And the game actually encourages you to buy these and customize them. Let me get my focus a little bit better on this guy here. Come on. There we go. But yeah, they actually encourage you to buy Hot Wheels, customize them up to your own liking, and kit them out, and you have points to buy them, like Warhammer 40k and all that. I think they call it cans for the game. It also very much encourages you not to worry about what you see is what you get. Just kind of slap whatever on and play with it. So this was the first one I built. I thought, I wanted to really try to make a plow. It's kind of interesting, and I'll go through how I did this, and I don't know, maybe we'll do something similar. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't decided exactly what we're going to do yet. Yeah, I thought it'd be fun to show this build. This type of thing. So, yeah. Anyway. Apologies, I like manual zoom because it's better, but also worse, so there's some pauses when I play with the zoom, so apologies. Anyway. You guys know me, I ramble, so So, there's a few different ways you can do these. One of the cool things about this is, like, you do whatever you want, like, right, like, it doesn't matter, especially because this is wasteland feel. There's no, like, right or wrong way. You don't have to only paint them this certain color if you're going to be this army, or, a lot of that kind of goes out the window, right? You slap something on, left it looks like a machine gun, but who's to say it hasn't been an old machine gun that just has a gas canister attached to it and actually is a flamethrower because, post-apocalyptic, junking, helter-skelter, throwing everything together. So that's one of the cool things about this customization process. You can do whatever you want, however you want to do it, and it'll probably look like it fits because, let's be honest, in the setting that's probably what happens, right? So, anyway. So, I have already prepped this guy here, so this is one we're going to work on. But as you can see, I have a selection. I went out to Target and I got this little pack of 9 of them. Let's see. Am I going to be able to fit this on the camera? Maybe not. Maybe. Anyway, you guys can see what it is. But it's a little set of 9, and it was $6-7, something like that. Hot Wheels themselves, if you see like one that you want, they're still $1. They've been $1 for the last 30-40 years, however long. Being a little facetious, but at the same time, yeah, they really haven't gone up in price. Which is great because you can get a whole army for, $10 rather than paying $50 for a single tank, right? Like, the buy-in's a lot lower. And I'll talk about that in the podcast and how, like, the book is only $12 and everything. But anyway. So yeah, let's get these guys all cleared out of the way. I'm sure some people who are, like, collectors are going to be like, oh my god, how is he handling those like that? They're going to get all scratched and dented anyway. Right? Like, that's the whole point. But we'll keep this guy out for reference. Alright. So, there's a couple different, as I was saying, there's a couple different ways you can do this, different things to do to prep it. I didn't bother stripping this. Sorry, let me fix that focus for y'all. That focus looks awful. That's a little better. Anyway, I didn't bother stripping the paint off this. You can, some of the detail work, is a little filled in. The paint that they use on these is a little thicker because, they're supposed to be a kid's toy, right? So they're gonna take a beating. But if you want to strip them, you can use simple green, use nail polish remover. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can find some videos on YouTube for that. Maybe I'll make one at a later point once I start deciding to strip these. But this was kind of a... There goes the cars. This was kind of a fast, impromptu little video, so I didn't really strip this stuff. So yeah, you can just start painting straight on this. The other thing that I did the thing I did do with this that I did not actually do with this guy, and that's why he has this little blue kind of dot. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Y'all know me. I had him sitting on here, and it covered up the spot down there. You're playing with him down here. Nobody's going to see it. I could, go over it with a brush if I really wanted, but I didn't take it apart, is where I'm going with this. I did not take this guy apart. This guy, however, I went ahead and did. Now, there's two ways you can do this. So, most Hot Wheels, I don't really know about Matchbox. I was always a Hot Wheels kid growing up. Okay, I wasn't. My dad was. My dad was one of those collectors, so whatever. But I know Hot Wheels are, generally speaking, metal top, plastic on the bottom, and then they're held in place by two little rivets. Now, there's two major ways that you can pop these rivets off, so that way you can take the thing apart without destroying the car. The first is you take a drill, get a drill bit that's just over the size of the rivets, right? Get that on the camera better for y'all. And you can drill down either with a power drill. I'd recommend you get yourself a vise if you're going to do that, or you can get yourself a little pin vise and do it that way. That just takes longer, right? So that's the first way, but in doing so, you do destroy the rivet. I don't know why you necessarily need to keep the rivet. There's pros and cons to it, but for me personally, the way I like, which is maybe the slightly more dangerous way, I don't know, is to actually take a soldering iron. And because the rivets have to be metal to use the soldering iron technique to start off with. I have one who actually has plastic rivets, and as you can see, I ended up melting the rivet. It didn't quite do the way I wanted it to do. But anyway. So it has to be metal rivets to do this technique. But what you do is you touch the... I put my soldering iron up already, so it's not immediately available. You touch the heated tip to the metal rivet here, and then you'll want to, lay the car down, possibly with like a rag that's been soaked in water or something, something to dissipate the heat in such a way that you're not going to burn whatever the car's on, but also not leach all the heat, right? I just did it on this mat. It was fine, but, be smart, be safe, don't be stupid. Anyway, so you just touch the soldering iron to that and you just kind of hold it in place. And what will happen is the metal body will transfer, the heat will go through the metal rivet into the metal body, but the plastic will start to melt. So, second caveat, wear a respirator, have a well-ventilated area, fan, whatever you need to do. You don't want to be breathing in that stuff. It's not going to be good. But, so then what ends up happening is, it melts. Let's see, let's bring in this focus closer. There we go. It melts the plastic, and you can kind of see there how the hole is not quite, it's a little bit bigger than the rivet. And so while heating it up, you grab the wheels and you just kind of pop upwards, and eventually it will melt its way up. And you get this guy. And then what I did was I took a metal file. I have this little round metal file, and I just, you know, went bloop, 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 and cleaned up the hole. And so now it is just big enough where it can snap back on. But I can also remove it. So anyway, you get it. Most of these cars have a little, you know, your base, little interior, little glass bit, and the car top. Whoops, I did not fix that focus. I apologize. This is going to be a lot of me going back and forth with the focus. I can just feel it. Apologies again. This is the first time we're doing this, so we're all learning along the way. Anyway, so if you want to paint up the interior, you now have access to it. I'm not really going to worry about it because I kind of like the idea of putting like armor over the windows and stuff. I kind of did it on this one on the back. That's actually toothpicks. Just after I snipped the top of the toothpicks off and used them for the spikes, and then I had the bodies, which I just snipped down and popped them back there. But anyway. But if you want to paint them, if you want to put in a little figurine or something, this allows you to have access to do so. We're just going to set that aside for right now, though. Oops, there we go. I don't have any of this next bit, but again, I'm just kind of going through the process, things I've learned. But what you can do is, if you don't like the wheels, you can now, there's these little tabs down here that you can pop up and pop the axles out. And if you have better wheels, say from another car that you prefer, or different companies make like aftermarket ones that you can add on, that's how you can get to it. I'm not going to really worry about it because this is going to be a quick, simple build, but the option's there, and I wanted to show it. So we're going to set him off to the side. And yeah, we got the metal body. This is going to be the main star of the show, so to say, I guess. This is where all the fun bits are, but oops. But yeah, anyway. I could pull off the decals. I'm not sure if they're dry rub or water slide, but it's probably fine just to paint over it. Oh, we'll see. I didn't do it, again, I didn't do it on this one. It looks fine enough. If I was to really go over the top, I probably would, but yeah, this is supposed to be a quick little video. Anyway, so these are our parts. Let's actually move them over here. Yeah. Alright, so what do we want to do with this guy? You can tell I did not fully think through things all about this. So, well, I like the Ram. I don't know, this is a what? A custom Ford Maverick. You can tell I know my cars. I don't think this guy's really going to be a good ramming vehicle. Better as like a speedster type deal, right? So let's... Oh, I got an idea. So, before I continue, actually, I forgot I had these guys. Over here, I have a bunch of different little metal bits from some of my previous bit boxes. I sold all my 40K stuff at a point, earlier point in the year, so I actually don't have a lot of those that I could use, but I do have a bunch of these. And I'm thinking, again, I'm kind of thinking aloud as we go along. Part of what I'm thinking is this guy's supposed to be a speedster, right? Like, he's gonna go by, he's gonna, do some really fast shots as he comes up on you, and then as he gets ahead of you, he's going to have something on the back, I don't know, an oil slick, maybe like a flamethrower or something, to then finish you off as he bypasses, right? Like that's the kind of feeling I'm getting from this. Little bit unarmored, so maybe we add in more armor plating for it. Yeah, kind of like that. I think that sounds good. Anyway, and also, sorry, I was looking at you got these little air intakes, I guess, for the engine, and then I think these are supposed to be the mirrors, but I'm wondering if we can't convert those to like some kind of like gun housing or something, right? Like, I don't know, we'll see what we can do. So then, let's start off, let's look at these bits. Let's see what we can play with here. Oh, I do have this little... So this is part of the fun too, right? Like you just kind of start off by, can this fit on here in this way or another, right? Sorry, my hand's kind of in the way. I do apologize. I'm trying to keep everything revealing. So I have this little it came from a robot game, right? Like it's kind of like BattleTech. I forget what it's called now. Like heavy something gear. Anyway, and this is like a little automatic grenade launcher that one of the that you can slap into one of the mech's hands. So I'm thinking we turn it upside down, right? Maybe give it, using some of the plastic card that I'll pull out here in a minute, give it a little plate, and we have it on the side here. So like the passenger just kind of reaches out the window and just kind of holds boom, some I don't know. We're just kind of playing with different ideas. They might seem a little silly, but let's be honest. The whole theme of this is kind of a little silly. Got that one. We got this little. Here's another little like machine gun from the same thing. I wonder if I could. Nah, I don't really got anything to use that for. Never mind. I'm wondering if like we can like do something with it like here, like on the front, and pop a hole in the windshield, right, for that passenger. Like I'm kind of thinking the passenger, right? Like he might be doing more of the kind of gunning while the driver is driving. I definitely really like this one though. So let's just start there. See what we got here. These are a bunch of bits and baubles. I'm not really sure exactly what they were for. They might have been from BattleTech or Heavy Gear again. I don't know if they were extra armor plating. Maybe they were like missile pod covers that I decided to model open or something. I don't actually know. But I'm wondering if we can like use them to... let's see, this guy's better. Like something like that. Whoops, let me pull it closer to the camera. Something like that for the wheels. Yeah, I don't really like that actually. Oh, here, this guy's a little got some flashing that needs cleaning up on him. But here we got this tiny little rocket launcher, right? What if we try popping a hole in here, popping him on top so he has a turreted little mini rocket launcher? I don't know, maybe it fires like Roman candles or something, right? Like, what is it? What is it called? The Thunderpoons, Thunder Harpoons, or whatever from Mad Max, right? Like maybe it fires like small ones of those or something. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like those two. Those two seem good. Oh, this is another one of those rocket launchers. Nah, we'll just do one. So let's just call it on that. I like those two. And I think the rest of it we're going to use some of this it's called pla plate or plastic plate. It is specifically made for modelers. They come in different widths and different shapes. This actually I cut off from. They cut really easy. You can use either just basic plastic snips, use X-Acto knives. But I cut this off of this. I have this large sheet here. I have more of a few different sizes, and I have some of these little rectangular square pieces, some big ones. I got little round ones. So I don't know. Maybe we can make up like a small gun or something. I don't know from these. They look like little gun barrels. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Point is to make it look cool, right? Alright, so about the, I'm gonna put them back together just to kind of get a little bit of an idea of what we can do. Alright. So, let's think about this back here. Because I really like the idea of him, as he bypasses, dropping something, or firing something, or some variation thereof of attacking his enemies that he's already shot by. Ooh, I wonder if you can do like some kind of deadly break check, right? Like a smaller but still equally mean, something like this on the backside, right? So then, like, he bypasses you and then just slams on his brakes and you crash into him. Doesn't seem like the best of maneuvers to make, but cinematically it sounds pretty cool. Again, this is all about rule of cool. Yeah, I kind of like that. Alright, so let's start with this. Alright, so how do we attach it? Alright, so here's my thought process. We do, should it be angled? Should it be yeah, I like it kind of angled. So we have it angled, I guess let me hold it this way. Angled a little bit, maybe not that much, but right, like have it angled like that, so then when the person hits them, it doesn't hit them square on, right? They kind of bounce and fly off to the side. But then also have it angled like so, something like that. So then, you get the whole, like, type deal. I don't know. Just kind of playing with ideas. Yeah, I like that. So first thing to do, I guess, is going to get our angle, our width, excuse me. So let's just go a little bit wider than what it is. Something like that. I'll put it down. I love these mats. So these little squares on these mats is about an inch. And I know it's kind of hard to see from y'all's angle, but if I'm looking straight down, I kind of have him lined up here. This guy lined up, and I can just play with him. Alright. Rulers are amazing to making sure you get nice straight cuts. But also, again, this is Wasteland Apocalyptic. We're not going to worry too much about the straightest of cuts. Just things end up being jagged, they end up being jagged. That's one of the things we're going to do to this, right? We're going to give it some damage. I think you guys probably spotted these bullet holes on the side of here. So we'll do something similar on this guy. So essentially, once you get your first cut in, just going to come back over it a couple times, score it nice and deep, and then you just pop them off. So pin to the side. And now you'll see that there's, if I was doing this for another project, let's see if the camera probably won't pick it up. I'm not going to worry about it. But there's a small lip from when we folded it upward, and it kind of picked up some of the plastic. Normally I'd go in and I would kind of clean it up a little bit, but I'm not going to fully. I'm just going to kind of do the flat of my blade and just kind of let it catch and get some kind of grunginess to it. And I think we're going to kind of cut out some little notches here and just kind of see. This is probably just a better tool for the job. There we go. So now you see we got like a nice little. You don't have to think too hard about it. Maybe think a little bit about where it makes sense that something would happen. But edges are a good spot to just kind of round off because, you know, a lot of damage will happen there. But I think we'll leave that one square. Just kind of maybe make a very shallow but very wide cut here. Yeah. And then kind of a big old chunk missing on this side. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll be able to, we'll kind of weather up those edges as we go along. But, actually, I don't like, that's kind of a little too, straight, you know. So let's do something like, there we go. That looks better. Kind of give it a little, like, kind of took out in the straight out line, because that was kind of a little... Alright. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. So the next question is, how are we going to attach it? I think, let's grab one of these rectangular pieces, right? So, thinking, you know, how things would go in an apocalyptic wasteland, right? Like, they're just kind of slapping things together, right? So let's say he, you know, they just pick up some I-beam or something, right? So how far out did we want it to go? So kind of trying. Realize I haven't been fully showing. Like, maybe I'm not at the best angle for y'all. So I'm thinking maybe don't need that. Sticking out something like that far. Something like there. Alright. So then we just kind of... Alright, so, oh wait, is this actually, okay, yeah, so this inside is plastic. One of the neat things you might find, in case this one we lucked out, because this part is plastic. Now, I'm also going to be mostly, I think, at this point, just doing everything put together, because I don't know that I'm going to paint inside, so I don't really need to take it apart. I kind of wanted to show the process, I guess, in case you want to, right? But anyway, so this guy's plastic. Because he's plastic, I'll be able to use this stuff right here. Tamiya Extra Thin Plastic Cement. I love this stuff. This stuff is a modeler's best friend. It's not like super glue. What it does is it actually begins to liquefy the plastic a little bit, so you don't want to like spill it, right? You don't want to dump it all over your models. You just put a little bead of it, and it will start to convert the plastic back to a semi-liquid state. You do it on both sides. You push it together, and then as that dries, you get a plastic weld. It's literally chemically welding, right? And it becomes one piece. So it's stronger than super glue, but the turnaround is that it only works with plastic. This is not going to stick to the metal. For that, you're going to have to use super glue. But because the inside bit is plastic, we're good to go. So you just take it, and it also has this, bring it closer so you can see, has this little applicator brush, which makes it really easy to apply. And they have thicker stuff, to be honest. Maybe the thicker stuff might be better for this particular application, but I always find that if you have thinner stuff, just apply a little bit more and then you're good to go. So, you're just going to kind of haphazardly slap it on. Nope. No, that's not going to quite work. Because I missed an important step that I shouldn't have. Benefit of having also actually done this is, even though I'm going to mostly have it together, I can keep taking it off. Because I'm done. We have raised details. we need to file that down. It's going to be covered up, so I'm not too worried about how nice it looks. I'm just going to really roughly get that nice. Maybe I'll take my knife and then just kind of hack a bunch of it off. Sorry, I'm not close enough to the camera for y'all to see what I'm doing. Yeah, so you see I'm just I'm cutting out all that detail. That's good enough, flat enough. Do another quick file just to make sure. There we go. Okay. So what side did I put the glue on? That side. Okay. Just gonna reapply a bead of the glue. Should have this together first. And you do have some working time with the glue. That's why I'm not too terribly worried. We'll just kind of pop him right there. There we go. And yeah, it's a little haphazard. It's not quite straight. And you know what? Again, it all plays into that aesthetic, right? It's not yeah. Excuse me. Alright. So then now, how do we want to do this? So I'm thinking, you can just get that kind of flat on there, but because he's all, whoops, that is way too high for y'all. Since he's kind of at that angle, he's not flat against this, we'll just slap the glue on like that, and then we'll dab some super glue on this corner after we get it in place. So let's apply some here. Sorry, this is also my first time doing this kind of stuff in front of a camera, so I do apologize for the work not fully being in frame. I'm going to try to work harder on this. We'll just kind of... bottom guy moved. That's okay. Yeah, so we'll just hold him a little bit. Come on. Usually doesn't take too long for the stuff to set. One of the other upsides about this, or I guess it's an upside even though it's also a negative about the plastic cement, is if it falls on stuff that isn't plastic, you ain't gotta worry about it gluing to it, as long as you're not planning on running any plastic over it. There we go. That's what I'll think. Alright, so now, while that's still drying, I'm going to take some, this is just regular super glue, cyanoacrylate. Because he does not glue to, or the other guy does not glue to metal. So we'll just put a bead in there, and now we got to hold him. Now while we think of the next thing, I'm just going to, sometimes you'll find uses like this where he kind of using, I'm going to move the camera, apologize for any motion sickness, where I've kind of pushed him up against there so I can do some other stuff while he's drying. Apparently my computer did not like moving either. Alright, anyway, let's move this off of the car. Alright, so now for the spikes. We got two options. We can take some toothpicks and put some spikes on there. I kind of like just, I really like adding spikes in general, right? Like, it feels very Mad Maxian, I guess. Oh, you know what? What if we had some spikes, like, coming out of the tires, right? Like, in the middle of the axle. Yeah, I think I like that. Oh, no. I think we should do some armor around the wheels, and then we'll add some spikes to the armor, right? Because, again, you're going fast. You just slam into the guy, and yeah, I like it. I know I said that he's not... he's a fast guy, so we don't want something like this, but I feel like having still... using your speed for that small damage still works really well for the aesthetic for him, so... Alright, so... how do we... Oh, I was saying about the spikes on the back. Let's finish one train of thought first. So, what I did for this guy is I actually took 2 pieces of this same plastic card, and I cut them out, and I just glued them together like this and popped them on top. But then I took some of it, and I just kind of cut it at rough angle, and actually you can see that this is literally the part that came from right there. But, just kind of cut it roughly, and, you know, I made sure to very distinctly not have a form. I just kind of cut triangles and glued them on there. So we could do something like that as well. Maybe a bunch of smaller ones. Doesn't need to be that big. We're not plowing from there. We're just kind of going to be high speed, and then, you know, slamming on our brakes and using the opponent's weight to do the damage, right? So maybe something smaller. So what if we did something like... my tweezers, so yeah, something like that, something much smaller, just to kind of give you guys a size difference. Oops, let's hold it better for the camera to see. You know, something like that. Some of these smaller ones, I don't know. Spikes or triangles? Let's do triangles, just because we can. So I'm just going to cut out a small selection of them. As I said, I'm just kind of roughly doing it. I'm not trying to follow any form. I'm not making them all at the same angle. If they were bigger, I would, you know, make sure I kind of cut jaggedly, or more jagged, I guess. Let's see, I'll make this one kind of a little more blunt. Here we got 6 of them. Let's do 7. Let's make 7 of them. Come from this side. Make this one a nice kind of boop. Yeah, that'll be our middle. That'll be our apex spike because it's a little longer. Alright, let's see how the drawing is going. Alright, looks pretty good. Alrighty, so here we have our back plow. Looks pretty cool. Looks pretty sharp. Looks pretty dangerous, right? Just, not a happy fun time already. So for these guys, collect them up and show you. Just because of the nature of the way the plastic card is, there is a straighter side to most of these, which is fine. That'll be the side that we mainly use to apply the glue. We could use some of the kind of more jagged stuff, and you know, these are Hot Wheels, right? Like they're gonna kind of take some hits and everything. And whoops, I dropped one. Just from playing, right? So we don't want to worry too much about reinforcing them because they're going to break off anyway, but at the same time we don't want them to just fall off. So using a more straight edge will help with that. So I like doing odd numbers and starting in the center so that way you can then evenly space things out. Well, evenly space things out, because I did it with this one, right? Like, it looks good because it's pleasing to the eye, but if you look at them, they are not evenly spaced out. Like you can tell, this one is much closer to the edge than this one is. They're not even fully, let's see if the camera will pick it up, they're not even fully straight up and down. Like this one over here, it kind of glued on where he's kind of hanging a little to the side. So these guys are sticking up over the, let's see, sticking up over the top of it. And so I wanted that really rough, ramshackle kind of application. So we're going to do something similar here. So let's start with this long, kind of thin one, just because he's different than the rest, more so than the rest. I like to choose the one that has the most character and kind of use it as the center, because the human eye, right, like we kind of get drawn towards the center. So you want to, if I had this one towards the end or in the middle, it would feel a little weird. And you know, you can definitely do the asymmetrical design and you can make it work. I think for this we're going to make it in the center. Let's move these. Alright. So, same thing where we apply some of the glue. And if you really wanted to, you can find wherever spot you did, you can apply a little bit of glue in the middle there, but I haven't really found it's all that terribly necessary. So we're just going to kind of pop it there. Whoops. Very gently let go. So yeah, it's not really fully straight, but you know, again, we're just kind of going for that wastelandy kind of feel. So let's use this one next. I'll take a little bit of time figuring out how to hold it, so that way I can, you know, hold it well when we do the gluing itself. Sorry, I am right hand dominant. Possibly will maybe next time try the camera on the other side. That might make things easier for y'all to see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So then we'll just kind of pop him right there. I love these tweezers, these reverse action. I find them much easier for modeling than your normal tweezers, right? That they're open normally, and when you squeeze, they squeeze. These shut on their own, and it's only when you squeeze them do they open. And I find that, like, I know it's a bit of a kind of a silly differentiation to make, and I don't know, I find them much more usable. I only have the hook nose version. I wouldn't mind getting some straight ones at some point, but I really like having that ability to do things in that regard. So now our next one. And what I like to do as well is work on one whole side before moving to the other. Let's make this one a little crooked. No. Sometimes you'll get this little bit. Things do not perfectly work the first time you try them. If anyone tells you otherwise, they're trying to sell you something. There we go. Yeah, you can kind of see they're not really not perfectly in line, and that's fine. That's okay. And that's little Maverick's character. No, I totally did not look at the bottom to check what it was called again, because I had already forgotten. What are you talking about? Alright, and our last spike for this side. Eventually I'll... Alright. I think once we get these on, I'm going to need to reinforce this plow a little bit. Alright, so next point to make, just kind of, because some people like to hear all the thought processes. If that's not you, you can jump forward a couple seconds. One of the things that I've done here is, whoops, let's get it actually in the camera view. Right, even though this is the longest in the center, I didn't put the next longest, right? So this guy here is a little bit longer than the two on either side. Furthermore, like, this guy here has a different angle cut compared to the others. When I do this side, so my second longest was, over here, right? I'm not going to put him here. Maybe I'll put him on the outside or on the inside, something like that. So I don't want the symmetry, even though these aren't symmetrical in and of themselves, I do not want to reflect it over here. I want it to be just all sorts of ramshackly goodness. Like, somebody cut things, threw them in a pile, and just grabbed from the top of the pile before they welded it on, right? Like, they didn't care, so neither should I. It's kind of the bit of the thought process, right? And while we are kind of talking about all these different thought processes, that's exactly it. It's just, they didn't care, so neither should I, right? Neither should you. And you'll find ways to make it work. Alright, there we go. So yeah, this is shaping up pretty good. I kind of like this. Hope y'all are enjoying watching this as well. Let us know in the comments if you are. We will do more of these kind of things. Let me personally know if there's things you want to know about, things that you think I should have done better or different. If you guys disagreed with some of my thought processes, if you guys have recommendations on how to better aim the camera or something, just let me know, and we will take that into account. Oh, come on. This is plastic cement. This should not be happening. You know what it is? I think there's little shards of plastic in the teeth of my tweezers. Damn. Yep, that's what it was. I should have like a mess up counter every time that Tets does something and then it falls apart after he had done it. Now, sometimes you might worry that, oh no, this is leaving all the glue smears everywhere, I'm gonna have to clean that up. No, you don't. No, you don't. Again, they don't care. So neither should you. We can turn that around when we get to painting this. Like right now, everything kind of looks a little. I see your thought process, but I don't know. But when we get to the painting process of this whole thing, you'll see a lot of this start to come together and just suddenly blends really well together. There we go. I just kind of stuck that one a little higher. Maybe the one that was originally there when that crack happened, fell off. So they just kind of popped one on there. Yeah, and that's part of the fun too, right? Like you kind of start to create this story about this car, right? As you go along, and that story can help educate your design choices later on in the build. Or not. Sometimes it's just fun. Whoops. Just fun to imagine, to play with your imagination. There we go. Yeah, something happened on that side, so that's why they're kind of higher. I don't know. Or maybe right, like that's close to where the driver's side is if you're American and drive on the right side of the road. But so that side's more forward and they're higher up, so that gets the driver, and the lesser ones kind of help to push the car away. I don't know. deadly brake checking though. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We're gonna let that dry a little bit, but yeah, I kind of really like that. That's pretty cool. Get that up. Sorry, I got dust in there, and I have a very impromptu airbrushing setup that I used for a model competition I recently did, and I still have paint dust everywhere in my office from that. My keyboard is just god-awfully nasty because of it. But you guys will see it when we do the painting section of this. But anyway, alright, so what's our next thought? What do we want to do next? You know, I kind of want to add some more, like, supports to that, just to... do we need it, though? But is it about need, either? I do really like having little bars across the window. Well, tell you what, we'll come back to that. Let's work on this little missile launcher piece. So, when it comes to metal pieces, whether you buy them, you know, specially for things, or they come with models or whatever, you get different kinds of cleanup you have to do. One of them is dealing with flashing. So, what flashing is, let's pull this focus in a little bit. Okay, so during the casting process, right, you get these little sections where the metal or plastic or whatever ran into the mold, and they're kind of a form of advanced mold line, if you will. Luckily with pewter, they're pretty easy to remove, and I feel like pewter is a little bit easier to remove than plastic is, because with pewter you can just grab them and just go pop them, just straight off. Totally missed my garbage can. So although sometimes you do get something a little more stubborn. There we go. Oops, I was way out of camera. So yeah, but then you'll have this little kind of a little bit of a remain, and that's where your file comes into play. You just kind of go boop. Oops. I do apologize about keep getting out of frame. I am sorry. But yeah, so we're just going to kind of file that down, get it a little bit nice. There we go. Now the other thing that we will get is you get these mold lines. Depending on the mold line, sometimes they'll show up, sometimes they won't. This one probably will. But regardless, it's usually a good idea just to tag it with the file. There we go. Much better. And you can like scribe more lines in. That's a little bit more advanced. I don't have the tools for it, but we can talk about that at a later video to add more cool things. But anyway, that's the other thing. We're going to find out if these pliers can deal with pewter. So, because this guy is going to go in like this, and that little knob on top is going to look a little weird. Y'all would know what I'm saying if you guys could see it. There we go. So because it has the two knobs, the one on top might look a little weird. I don't really have anything to go into it, so we're just going to see if my pewter's nice and soft. Yep. Nice and soft. So we've snipped that off. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back over it with my file just real fast, just to kind of clean up some of that. And it's okay that I don't make it a nice finish, because again, we're gonna bang this guy up some in a little bit. So the scratches don't really matter. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm breaking out my pin vise here. There we go. Swip the head around, and I'm actually going to use a slightly bigger drill bit. This is like the biggest drill bit that this poor little pin vise can use. So we're just gonna kind of find the center, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it being spot on. And we're just going to drill down into it. You want to apply steady pressure, but not too much pressure, right? Like we don't want to break it. We don't want to you know, get through suddenly and destroy the inside, or I don't know, maybe you do. I can't tell you what you want to do. You know what you want to do. Maybe your car will tell you what it wants you to do to it. That's a whole conversation in and of itself, but. So let's see, that might be deep enough. I might not need to go all the way through. Hold on. All those metal shavings in the trash can. Alright. Do a little dry fitting. Of course, there it is. Got a little bit of shaving still in there. There we go. Do I need... Yeah, we gotta go a little bit lower. Whoops! I broke a spike. I don't know what spike I broke. Huh. Well, whatever. We'll find a place for it later. Sometimes this sort of thing is easier if you have like a small vise. I wouldn't say go out and get one for this, because again, one of the awesome points about this game is the low barrier of entry based on costs. But if you want one or have one, it might be helpful. There we go. I think that'll do. Sorry. I am one of those people where I cannot stand having shavings everywhere. Anyway. So then, because we're doing metal on metal, we must use the super glue. And I just put a little teeny dot in there. Enough to kind of fill it. And it'll probably oversplorp, oversplash, overflow, overfill, overlord, over clock, over whatever. But there we go. Kind of get it a little bit straight, but there we go. That's pretty good. Cool, cool, cool. This is starting to shape up pretty well. Should not have touched it. So, oh, that reminds me too. One thing we're going to do, this is one of those things that different people talk about, you know, whether or not you need to do it, it's a good idea, it's a bad idea, is gluing the wheels. Now, I did that with this. Well, this dries, I'm going to talk about this. I did it with this one, right? Like, the wheel doesn't move. I put a little bit of super glue in there. And the reason why I subscribe to doing it this way is because when you're playing, if your wheels actually roll, right, like you put it down, like, so part of the game is you have these templates, and you'll put the template down, and let's just pretend that this is a template. And you'll put your car, you know, your car's here, and you let's do it in a better angle for y'all to see. And let's say, alright, so I go to the end of the thing, I put the back end of my car there, set the car down, and you go to grab something else, but then because his wheels move, he rolls to there. Or, you know, rolls back or whatever, right? Like you start cheating yourself out of inches, or cheating yourself into inches, or whatever. And that's just, you know, if everybody has it, that's fine, I guess. And I broke a gun off. But I just say err on the side of not. And go ahead and just glue the tires. Just like we're going to glue this guy back on. Because maybe I just need to get a better super glue. I'm starting to think I need a better super glue. Some kind of Gorilla Glue or something. And I can try to like really line it up with the paint from underneath where it has the original paint scheme, but you know what? They wouldn't have cared, neither do I. Wasn't kidding when I said that. That's kind of the philosophy on this. Alright, anyway. Yeah, so that's still a little wet. So at a later point, though, we'll glue those on. So ready, Nick? Oh, come on. There we go. Alright. Next thought process. Oh, this guy actually. Yeah, let's make a little plate for him to sit on, right? So we got this little bit of plot plate left. And just kind of, actually, just straight on like that doesn't look bad. It looks all ramshackle. We can just, yeah. I do think I want to put, see if it fits. Yep. Put a little on there to kind of fill that gap area. Oh no, that's a little too high. Do I think thinner than this? No, these are all the same thickness. Is this thinner? I think this sheet might be thinner. Yep, sheet's thinner. Alright, so that's what we'll do. Actually, you know what? We're going to take the spike that we had earlier that fell off, rather than trying to find its old home. So what I'm doing, I don't think I vocalized what I'm doing, is because this gun has that nice little round barrel bit, and it's the only point of contact is going to be there, right? So where the rest of the handle is, it's not touching, and so it's going to possibly fall off easier. But by giving it this little piece where the handle is, it gives me more points of contact, and it will be better for staying on. What did I? There it is. I think that's what we're gonna do. Just gonna. Where's? I swear I don't lose my tools this much, except I totally do. But you don't know what you're talking about. There we go. And then, check this guy. He doesn't really need any cleaning. I'm not seeing any mold lines or flashing or any of that stuff. So there's a good chance I already had cleaned him up for a previous project, though. So always check. Always check. Alright. Then we just gonna kind of go blorp across there. Kind of don't care if it just overflows, because we can make that work into, like, I don't know, like, well, like, I don't know. Like, you can find things to excuse what blorping of super glue is. It just takes a little creativity. Happy little paint splorps. I swear to you, I will try my best to never say that statement again. Alright. So I think, at this point, that's falling apart. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to drill this hole a little bit deeper. I'm going to get him to sit a little bit more flush. I'm going to glue this guy on the side, and I think at that point I am happy enough with this to go ahead and start painting it. So yeah, goodness, I think we're already sitting at an hour, so I will see you guys on the next one when we start painting up this guy.